So I'm 631 days into learning Spanish. I have a 631 day streak on Duolingo. And one of my lifetime goals has been to become fluent in a second language, because when I was in secondary school, I always really struggled. I struggled with most things, to be honest, and languages was definitely one of them. Like when I studied Irish, I did that at ordinary level. I studied German for 5 years, really struggled with that, did French for a year. I struggled with a lot of things in school, and the thing that I've realized is everybody has a different learning style. And what I've realized is that my specific learning style is I learn and absorb information much better when I'm actually out walking or moving. Like if I have to sit down in the classroom, I get like fidgety and I need to move, and like I'm pretty sure I don't have ADHD, but my concentration, for whatever reason, I just cannot focus on stuff when I'm sitting. So the way I've been learning Spanish for the last while, like 631 days, I've been basically doing a lesson of Duolingo once per day, obviously, to keep the streak going. And then I've been using another app called LangoTalk, and that's an AI app. So every time basically at home when I go out for a walk, which is most days, I'll open up the LangoTalk app and I'll basically have a conversation with the AI. And the way that the app works is really ingenious. There'll be lots of different scenarios. So let's say one scenario could be on mental health, another one could be on traveling, you get the idea, loads of different scenarios, and there'll be loads of sections as well. And so that's the way that I've been learning. My shoulder is kind of cramping up. So that's the way I've been learning Spanish, basically. And the crazy thing is, it's kind of like anything, I really put off learning for a long time because I had a bit of a self-limiting belief. Sorry, I'm carrying a water bottle here because I just finished the jiu-jitsu session. I'm absolutely destroyed in sweat, hence the hair curls are everywhere. But I had a self-limiting belief for many years that like I'll just never be good at languages, and for many years I kind of believed that, probably between like when I finished school, so 18, up until I made a bit of a start again trying to learn some languages. I'd say around the pandemic. I downloaded like some audiobooks and was listening to those, but didn't really like commit to it. I was just like, I'll just listen to a bit. But after I went to Spain, when I lived in Barcelona in 2022, I was like, I'd love to actually be fluent in another language. But still, even at that point, I wasn't ready. And it was only when I got to September 2023, so en español, desde septiembre 2023, since September 2023, that's when I've like committed to learning Spanish. And I was like, if I just, my self-proclaimed ingenious idea was like, what if I just replace the time I'm scrolling with some type of language learning, right? Crazy idea. And so, because I realized that, I was spending, maybe 40 to 60 minutes per day, wasting it on different things, Instagram, YouTube, mostly YouTube. And so what I did was I just made a decision. I was like, okay, every night I'm gonna spend even 5 minutes on Duolingo, and then every day when I go out for a walk, I'm gonna do some type of learning. And that's just become the habit for the last almost 2 years. So I basically just ingrained that habit of one quick Duolingo lesson in the evenings every time I'm out for a walk. It could be a 10-minute walk, it could be a half an hour walk, whatever. And that's really starting to pay off now, because like I said earlier, I just finished the jiu-jitsu session there, and pretty much everyone there could only speak Spanish, very, very little English. And the black belt, the guy that runs it, he could speak a little bit of English, but we basically conversed, and I'm sure I made mistakes, but he got the drift of what I was trying to say. But we basically were speaking about 70% Spanish and 30% English, and it's just like a huge win for me, that the fact that I've got over that self-limiting belief and I've made that commitment, and I'm starting to see the progress now. But the reality is, like, I didn't start feeling kind of more confident, I'd say, up until about day 500, which is insane, and that's kind of like demotivating in a way. But the reality of my journey and my experience has been that there's been waves. So like at the start, obviously I knew nothing, and then as I was learning a little bit, I was like, oh yeah, this is starting to improve a lot. And then once I got maybe like 100 or 200 days in, I was like, oh Jesus, like I don't really know as much as I thought I knew. And then I went through the kind of the doldrums, was struggling a bit, up until maybe for another 100 days, and then I kind of broke through that. And it's kind of like going in waves like this, like geez, I'm not even in shot, going in waves of like feeling like I'm making progress, sometimes I'm not making progress. And that's just a normal part of the journey with anything, with jiu-jitsu, with college, with whatever sport you do. Becoming good at anything, you go through waves of kind of feeling like you're making progress and not. And so I'm just constantly reminding myself of like, if I just keep this habit, like my long-term plan, essentially, I basically laid out like a 10 to 20 year plan. I was like, if I just keep this part of my daily habit for 5 years, there's no reason why I can't get to like a C1 level, which the CEFR scale, CEFR scale, goes A1, A2 for beginner, B1, B2 intermediate, C1, C2 for fluent. So a C2 person would be someone who's like native Spanish. C1 would be someone who has like learned fluency. B2 would be a high level of understanding. B1 would be like a low intermediate. I'm basically at like the B1 level right now. And so if I just keep going I'm almost 2 years in now. If I go for another 3 years, there's no reason why I can't get closer to that, B2, C1 level. And then after that, the plan is to potentially learn another language. And I think the smart thing to do would be to learn something similar like Portuguese, because I've talked to quite a few people who can speak Spanish, and they said that Portuguese is pretty similar. So that's most likely going to be the next language after learning Spanish. And yeah, it's just, I think, a great idea to have long-term plans like that, because I've noticed if I don't have something to constantly aim for or a purpose, I feel kind of lost. So it doesn't even matter what it is. Once it's just something that I enjoy and something I'm looking forward to, it gives me that feeling of like having a purpose, which is so important for me. And it gives me something to aim for every day, which I think is absolutely essential. So yeah, that's basically me just rambling for like 7-8 minutes about my experience so far with Spanish and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next few years and hopefully becoming fluent in Spanish. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for today. My brain is pretty much dead. I just finished 7-8 rounds jiu-jitsu, really good session, and I'm almost home now. And I hope I walked the right way, because I've been talking all this time. I haven't been really focusing on. I'm pretty sure I'm going the right way. And yeah, I think I've got about 5 minutes left. I'll turn you around so you can see it's actually beautiful around here. Okay, take the finger out of the way. Really nice around here. I'm in the south of Spain, Torre de la Oradad. Entonces, espero que tengas un gran día y hasta luego.